peep shorty from a distance, walking in the club like goddamn, who is this? Nice tight dress to compliment her thickness. Eyeliner highlighter, can't forget the lipstick. Got more drip on her than a wet raincoat. Attitude so fierce, had them hoes take note. Designer wardrobe like she on slave mode. All her girlfriends popping, they all got the same glow like They know how to allure their essence, adore their presence, secure attention. The more the glamour, the more the flex with. Tryna make a move on her before she exits. Shorty over there in the VIP, so I approached her, that's what I did. Know you came here looking like a peep.
Hey guys, welcome back to
On Your Business
podcast. I'm your host, Liz, and
I'm Noelle.
And we're here to talk about a very important topic that we had very different views on.
Ghosting, y'all. How do you feel about it?
Yes.
How do you?
Comment below and let us know if you've
I
ever been
feel
ghosted,
away.
if you ghosted, and why.
I ghost.
I don't remember.
Sometimes I ghost on accident. Like I'll read that stuff and I'll be like,
I forgot to push send.
oh no, I won't even get that far.
Well,
but I'll read it and then go back to work and then be like, oh dang, 3 days later. I'm excited about that.
I have been ghosted. I don't ever remember ghosting anyone. I always told them like it was, whether yes, it's going somewhere, it's not. But just because I felt, unless you were an asshole, I was like, oh, I'm gone. I think I even still give them the time of day. Like, hell no.
You're so nice.
But it's just because, I mean, I'm a Virgo, like we crazy. But it's closure. I have to have that closure.
I'm a Capricorn, we're the goat.
And it's just more like, I need to know, like this article that I read. This girl went on a dating app, went on 3 dates.
First mistake.
But on the third date, she didn't say the third date, he did. And then he made plans. I think they're gonna go to Topgolf. And she was like, oh, wonderful, okay, this date and stuff. And then, no, it's getting closer.
He died.
And she was just like, I think he did it. And she was just like, well, wow, he's not answering me. I'm texting him. And then here comes the date. Nothing. And then she kind of left it alone, but it was just like bugging her. And so she's like, she called him out. And was like, listen, you're the one that set up the third date. You're the one that said one to go on third. And then you disappeared.
So how long after did you call him out? Was it weeks, days, months?
No, I think it was like a week. A couple weeks. It was a couple weeks after.
I would have left it alone.
I know. But again, it's like sometimes we have to know why. And
do we though?
His response was, oh, I'm so sorry. You know, I've been really busy. But
with another girl.
But it just, I felt like it was getting a little too serious.
Was it though?
Yeah, so this is where I have the problem with ghosting, is quit being a bitch and come on. Because it's more like, be a man, and you're the one that set up the third date. And then you disappeared.
So I do agree, it's a bitch move. Like, but do you really need the closure? Because I look at it this way, the way I'm perceiving the story, she clearly was more into him than he was her.
Right.
Which, there's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
But now he knows, he has the upper hand. Because even if okay, think about it. How many guys have you dated and they come back into your life? All of them.
Oh, yeah.
Still married, with kids,
like the
grandbabies.
With the bushes.
You're like, here I am.
Yes.
And so, in my mind, from time, because in the beginning, like say when I was like 22, I'd be like, oh my God, he's not talking to me and whatever, and been all sad. And then when he texts me back like 6 months later, 5 days later, whatever, I'm like, hey, because I would have felt away, right? And I would have been in my feelings. But now, as like a grown-up, I'm like, okay, well, I'm extra unbothered. Even if I'm bothered, you're never going to know I'm bothered, because your non-reaction is the best reaction. Because then you have the upper hand and you're still like, wait a minute. So I didn't take her out and follow through with the plans, but she never got back to me. And then they're curious, and then they accidentally, are looking on Instagram one night and the phone slips and falls on their nose and they like something that way. That's never happened to me. But anyway, and then you're like, why is it looking at something from 75 million days ago? Because they're lurking.
Yeah, sucking.
Yeah.
Which we all do.
It's breadcrumbing. You know, that's like the term for it. It's called breadcrumbing, when a guy will do little things to keep you like, oh, but he reads all my stories and whatever. He don't like you.
No.
You're like third option. He's talking to like 3 other girls.
Mm-hmm. I think in the beginning, when I was in my early 20s, where it was just like, no, I need to know when, why, how. And it wasn't until maybe maybe half a year before Mateo and I had started to get serious, it was this one guy who we were going here, we were going there, the drunk guy, the one that got drunk and was like, oh, he wasn't supposed to drink. Well, he disappeared on me. And it was just like, we were doing so good. And then he appeared out of nowhere. And I did that. I finally stopped. I did it. Noelle, the little devil. was just more like, I remember I was cleaning out my apartment because I was going to paint. They were going to do something. And then I just remember, looked down and saw it. And I was just like, oh, he was like, hey, how you doing? And I was like, what do you want? And he's like, oh, I knew it was all this time. But he tried to say, like, he didn't think, again, it's an excuse because of whatever.
Talking out the side of his neck.
Yeah. And it was something stupid like, oh, I didn't think you were like serious about anything. And I was just like, we went out on how many dates and stuff. We went to the movies and we did here and there. And it wasn't until it was the last date I went with him. He was a total asshole. And I had just gotten off of work, so I didn't want to change.
Right.
And I still went out with him and he was just like, oh, what are you wearing? And I was like,
clothes?
I didn't change after work. And he's like, we're just going to the movies. And so he was a dick.
Also, you were just better than him, see if he felt away.
Yeah. And I remember we were driving back home after the movies and he was just still weird. And then I was like, thank you. So I was like, I just got a free movie ticket.
Bye-bye. Right. That's how I look at it.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, instead of being like, oh my God, what happened? I really liked him. And so this is my theory, because I'm a girl. And I do believe women will get into like, oh my God, it's going so good. Mm-hmm. I really like them. And they actually are romanticizing what could be. And guys are little bitches. Not all of them, but a lot of them are little bitches. Or they're out of pocket and they're talking to multiple girls. Because let's be real, today's day and age, it's so much easier to never be committed to anything because you have options to everything.
Oh, yeah.
And so that's why I don't date. But it's harder. And so you think it's going great because, he's going to be on his mind, his P's and Q's and best foot forward, whatever. But he's talking to some other chick. And that other chick is probably the one that he's more into. And so instead of being a man and being like, this isn't really going where I thought it would go. I'm so sorry, but I had a great time with you. You're a great person. I don't want to waste your time. Because it's essentially what you're doing. Wasting my time. And if a woman is in her 30s, do not waste her time. Because she is trying to do any and everything and be like all the magic in the world. Let her be fabulous. Don't waste her time.
And I think that's what it was. I was so over, because if I would have been in my early 20s, I would have been like, oh my God, like, why didn't he answer me? Until finally I was just like, maybe he's talking to, maybe he went back to his baby mama, because that was another one.
They do that a lot too, y'all.
And I was just like, oh, it is what it is. And then that's when I was like, oh, I'm done with you guys. I'm just going to do me. And then that's when he was like, oh, and I think what it was is that he knew, and I was way out of his league. I had my shit together. He was still living with his parents.
I mean, he was mad you were dressed nicely to go to the movies.
I was just more like, what's the problem? So he made me feel bad and stuff. So I was just like, I just got off of work and I still look nice. I wanted to look nice, obviously, for you, but screw you.
Kick rocks.
And then once he dropped me off the car, he didn't say like nothing. I was just like, oh, thank you. And I just went home. And never talked to me until he sent that text message. And I was just like, Doug, like, homie, please, like, what's up? I'm good. And I don't mean, it's because he said something really stupid, like I don't know if you were serious about it or this and that. And I was just like, why
trying to flip it on you.
He was trying to flip it.
Responsibility for being a little bitch.
And I was like, come on, Doug. Like, no. Stop. You're like literally flipping it, trying to manipulate this. And I'm good. I already know what's up. And so and he has a daughter. And so I was just like, how would you like if someone did this to your daughter?
He want to fight them.
He was like, oh, don't talk about my daughter. I was like, I'm not talking about your daughter like that, stupid.
But
I'm talking about the situation. How would you like it if your drunk ass ever showed up to my house when you're drunk? And he did. And how would you feel? So I was just like, how would you feel if some guy did this to your daughter?
True story. My ex, you know, the trash bag, the douche juice.
Oh, which one?
All of them. But this one in particular, he had sisters. And I remember getting mad at him one day and I was like, well, how would you like it if your sisters were treated this way? The words out of his mouth were, I don't care, because they're going to have to go through it anyway. So in my mind, I'm inclined to think these men don't care. They're going to do what they feel in the moment because they lead with their nuts instead of the brain.
Yeah.
And their loins are leading them this way. And it's probably,
and that's what's crazy.
Goosey.
It struck a nerve though with him.
Yeah,
right?
but he felt away.
It felt away. And so with him too, he's like, oh, don't talk about, I was like, I'm not talking about your daughter, stupid. I'm talking about the situation.
The behavior. It's unacceptable.
Yeah. So it's unacceptable for somebody to treat your daughter like this. It's unacceptable to treat me like that. Mm-hmm. So I was just like, that's what I thought.
But a fuckboy is a fuckboy is a fuckboy.
So I was like,
and there's a lot of fuckboys out there.
Yeah.
And they can look like your grandpa that's a millionaire and went to Harvard. And
again, it's just like, we're the same. I don't care. You don't have to. If you have money, hey, if you don't, that's fine.
I got my own money, y'all.
Yeah. And I think that's what a lot of these guys are afraid of because we're independent women.
And there's nothing wrong with that. Me.
Exactly.
The goat. The cat.
Who run this Beyonce. Yeah. Okay. So it was seeing like that. Like, and you have to have, so with the girl, it's just like, yeah, I think you did a little too much, especially 3 dates. If you were actually dating this person for a while, and with this fool, it was not a while, but it was a few months. And so with that, I think in a certain situation, when it's that long, I need an answer. Like, what happened to your ass? And then with this one, I think too, I think it was just more, well, maybe something happened. Because he set this up. He's the one that said, how about a third date? And let's go here.
I mean, the way I default is I automatically think people died. Because I have clients that come to my job if they're late and they're typically not late. I'm like, oh my God, they got in a car accident. Whatever. But with guys, I'm like, they died. But I'm not going to text them. I'll Google it. Because
you'll Google it.
If you're alive, I was not bothered. Yeah. You're not going to know.
But then there's that, like you said, he's just not that into you.
He's not.
And then to figuring that whole part. Yeah.
So don't look desperate. And I mean, she wasn't desperate. She wanted closure. I don't believe you actually get closure from anybody. Friendships that end, whatever. Like, you could think about it in all the different situations where you're like, well, I just want to know why. Why? Because then you're reliving that moment and you feel away, and then you're all in your
feelings. We have to know why. Mateo, he's a Virgo too, but I'm me, and Mateo's the quiet one, but he's the voice of reason.
That's good.
Where I'm like, oh, well, I need to, and he's just like, who cares? It happened, like, go, and I'm just like, but I just need to, and that's just something that I've had to learn to stop worrying about it.
I think the closure for anybody would be to go live your life. Mm-hmm. To keep it moving, because again, they're lurking. Yeah. And if you're out there being all fabulous, because I'm going to tell you this, when me and my ex, the tall one with the back problems, we broke up. We broke up around Christmas time, which also happens to be around my birthday. Mm-hmm. And he was doing all this weird stuff, like, I spent $500 on you, I want you to come back up and still get your presents. First of all, guys, he got all the things from Nordstrom, so you know what I did? I went and returned them to Nordstrom and took the cash. So, whatever, right? Mm-hmm. But I worked at Nordstrom, I know how it works. And so I got his money. Anyway, but, like, he kept calling me, but I was not calling him back. I wanted to, because I was in my feelings and it hurt so bad or whatever. But you know what I did? I went and put on Instagram, my cousin and my friend took me out for my birthday. We went to some bar and I was drinking, I like whiskey, so I was drinking whiskey. And it was whatever type. Yes, that's a great song. But it was whatever he liked to drink, because he swore he liked whiskey too. No, I liked it first. I'm older than you, so whatever. Anyway, but he went and messaged me. And he was watching my Instagram, and I was just like, with my whiskey, like my birthday, yay! And inside I was dying. I know. You're not going to know that. And he was like, you're drinking the drink I like, and you're out having fun. You have a whole new girlfriend, because he cheated on me, right? I was like, you have a whole new girlfriend. Why are you worried? He's like, we're gonna get back together. I would know because I don't like you.
Yeah.
You know, like really. And then I ended up moving, and the entire time I was gone, he would call me all the time. Be like, can I still come visit you? Because I'm fighting with his.
This was in San Diego, or
Yes.
when you were? Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, bruh, the way I'm at the beach getting this tan. Please don't call me.
Yes.
And you know, I would not respond to his text messages because I knew that my non-reaction was the best reaction. Because even if I said something like, I hope you die, or like your shingles in your eye, you know, that means I feel away.
Yeah.
And so I didn't want him to know I felt anything because I have no emotions. I have no feelings.
Yeah.
Like, whatever. I am an oak. You cannot move me. And so then guess what he did? He started texting my sister.
Oh.
Right. Hella dumb. And then he would also get on his mom's phone and text me from her number. And then one day I just was like, you know what? I don't even believe in blocking people because it's whatever. But I had to block him, his mom, his sisters, his grandma.
And then they, they ghost. And that ghosting is in relationships, not only, but I think in friendships, family issues and stuff like that. Because, yeah, I had some people that I'm not cool with anymore. But, reaching out to my sister, like...
It's weird.
It's odd.
Let it go. You're a
Yeah.
dumpster fire.
It's just more like, they're not your friend.
No, they're not. And there's a reason. So, okay, ghosting in relationships is one thing. Well, they're not even relationships. That's dating.
Well, no,
And-
even in some relationships.
Okay, well,
the
then
ghosting.
that's the R word we don't use.
Yeah, because I've seen that with a couple friends where they're just like disappear.
Okay, but were these relationships or were they side relationships?
That's the...
Because if they were side relationships, I get it because they got back with their wife.
Well, maybe they didn't know they were the side ones too.
And that happens. But if, in my mind, if a person disappears on you, they don't like you.
Yeah.
And you don't, why chase after someone that doesn't like you to even get the closure? It doesn't make sense. Now with actual friends, like say me and you, we had a falling out and you just ghosted me or whatever. It's not going to happen, guys, because she saved my life when I was like 4 and a half.
Okay, that's how we became friends.
Right.
Okay.
You good? I was falling in a pool and, you know.
Can you believe that? You were the same
know.
age as Olivia?
Oh my gosh.
God.
That was like a bajillion years ago.
Yeah.
We're young. We're 20.
Yes, we're wonderful.
So
Okay.
Whatever. But if we had a falling out and say I was like, Liz, why aren't you, and you just ignored me, I'd let it go. Because clearly we've outgrown each other and you felt
And
away.
we weren't real friends. If we were friends, I'd be like, oh, you know what? You pissed me off on that. But that's how I see, yeah, you're right.
And so I'm not even going to chase after you. Or say there's something, life is hard. The way I get seasonal affect disorder or whatever it's called, it's just, seasonal depression when the time changes and it's dark outside. It's done. But I will just be in my feelings, in my room, watching Netflix. Actually, I'll be watching Labyrinth. It's the best movie in the world. And with the blankets over my head, playing some dumb game on my phone. And my friends, I'm like, and I'll seriously get a text message like, God, I can't deal with this right now.
Yeah.
And I'll have to call them like a week or two later.
Yes.
But if they're my real friend, I'm like, I was just going through it. And they're like, oh my God, I understand. But if they feel away, we're not friends.
Exactly. That's exactly it. And the same way is like you're going through something, I'm reaching out, and if you just fell off the face of the earth and then came back thinking everything, like, we're not cool.
No.
That just shows that we were never real friends. Because real friends or relationship, boyfriend, girlfriend, you would never do that.
Absolutely.
I wouldn't just disappear from my friend's life. Even if, oh, you know what, I borrowed your earrings and I never give them back. And you're like, where's this bitch? She didn't bring my earrings back. And then I'm going to disappear and stuff. Like, you owe me something. That looks even worse on you. It's just like, don't be...
It's thirsty, and I'm not the Gatorade to quench your thirst.
Yeah.
Just saying.
And then that's when I found it. And then I'm just like, I'm too old for this shit.
Right.
And so are you.
Yeah.
To be playing this shit from hiding from me or doing this for
Right,
me.
because if you're not going to be adult enough to have a conversation with me, then it doesn't deserve a conversation.
No. Like, oh, I'm so embarrassed. And then a conversation face to face.
Because I have a good example. My sister knew a person that she was really close to. They fell off for circumstances, relationship issues. My sister was just an innocent bystander, but it was hard, right? This individual ended up like a decade later texting her and be like, I'm so sorry. And she took ownership for how she just disappeared off the face of the planet, and she was going through a lot, and like the lead up to her wanting to message my sister again. That I might be hesitant, be like, well, you know, you hurt my
10
feelings.
years later.
But at the same time, I respect her for actually owning up to everything, apologizing for everything, and then putting forth the effort to try and mend stuff. It's never going to be the same.
I was just going to say.
I'll go have brunch with you. But now if you're a guy and we're dating and you disappear, then guess what? I've won the lotto.
thought you died.
Right. I won the lotto. I started a business. I hang out with Beyonce now. I'm going to do all this lied up shit.
And see,
to make you think that I'm living my best life and I'm not thinking about you, because of the way I operate, I am fabulous, and so.
But I think I wouldn't even give if it took you 10 years to tell me that you were wrong. My problem is I'm a big grudge holder. I'm a grudge holder. My husband did not say it. I'm a grudge holder. Like, once you mess with me, I don't fuck with you. Peace out. I don't fuck with you. It is. I've had to learn to forgive, but I will never ever forget. But if you come and say, oh my God, I'm so sorry that this happened, and I was just like, yeah, it's not like, and then too, it's not like this person lives, far away. I see your ass. I've seen your ass. And so that's where I get, my husband more just like, oh, just let it, whatever. Where I have a problem with is, even in the situations we've caught each other where we've seen each other, that's not the time and place to come talk to me about it. Is you need to,
don't know you.
Yeah.
I will pull the Mariah Carey.
And to me, because the same thing happened to me, but I'm like, well, I only became friends with you because of my husband, but then we became cool. So for you to just disappear with all the other issues happening, and then I would bump into you in certain events and stuff, but it was just like, oh, I miss you so much, and this and that. I'm just like,
I feel like that's diarrhea of the mouth. They're just saying whatever they think to make you feel good because they're uncomfortable.
And then they're drunk sometimes too. Yeah. But then it's just like, if you want to talk to me, like the girl, pick up the phone and say, hey, can we go get coffee?
Yeah.
And let's talk. Let's hash it out. Because even though, like you said, things may never be the same again, but I just want to have that, not so much closure, but, oh, okay, that's what happened. All right. Okay.
True story. Me and my cousin didn't talk for like 6 years because I got mad at her for something. I don't even remember what. And so then my parents and my family and everybody like, oh my God, I want you guys to be friends again. And then I was like, no. And whatever, because I still remember why I was mad. But then I hella forgot. And I was like, okay, yeah, I'll talk to her. Like, whatever. Because that's family though. Right. And to this day, I can't remember all, but I knew I was mad.
Well, even at our reunion. Stephanie, that was my bestie in high school. We had a falling out because of crazy. You know who I'm talking about. I knew what you're talking about. Because got involved, and then another person had gotten involved, and we were besties. And then we all had a falling out, and it was sad because I never told my mom, but my mom would be like, "Why aren't you telling me something's going on and stuff?" But I would do like you. I shut down. I didn't reach out to nobody. And it hurt my feelings. Years later, we started going to the same community college together.
Okay.
And it was like, oh, hey. It was that awkwardness. And she don't even remember. She don't remember. I was telling her, I was like, you remember we had a class together? Biology. We had biology. No, geometry. We had geometry together.
Sounds good.
No, what's the other one? Geology with the rocks.
Yeah. That's something I like, guys.
Geology and stuff. And she don't remember, but one day she actually reached out to me on Facebook.
She's like, are you alive?
And was just like, whatever happened, this and that. And the same thing, I haven't read my messages because I don't really go on Facebook. And she wrote again, like, oh, so, and I was like, oh, my bad, Stephen, shit, I didn't even see that you wrote. And I was like, it is what it is, let's squash it and stuff. So then we started talking at the reunion. And I was just like, I'm sorry, like, our relationship. And then sometimes I find myself apologizing to people.
Side note, I don't remember this because I was drunk.
Oh, that bitch. And I was like, yes. Who started all of her drama.
Really?
And then disappeared.
If it's who I think it is.
And of course, it had to be our senior year when we're like, oh, yeah. And it broke my heart. Because I was like, dang, we were like, what were we supposed to do?
I don't remember any of this senior year because, guys, I got a lot of classes.
Yeah, I only had 3 classes and stuff, but
I
actually
had
couldn't
one
graduate.
and I
Did you
couldn't
graduate
go to
early?
it. They didn't let me because they were like, you're only gonna be 16. And
Oh,
I'm
that's
like,
right, you were the baby.
I'm like,
I was already 18.
yo.
I was already 18 my senior year.
It's
So
like,
I was like,
I
yeah.
don't want to be here.
But I didn't want to. I wanted to do all the activities in school.
I did.
So it broke my heart when all these bitches didn't like me anymore, and I was like, what the fuck did I do? And so,
It was that hoe over there.
Yeah, and they were just talking shit like, oh, she's a hoe and this and that. I was still a virgin, so I was like, I haven't done nothing. Literally had not done anything. She was the hoe, the crazy.
Guys, this was ghosting before ghosting was a thing because we just, wrote notes and shit.
Exactly. Remember? Yes. So they all disappeared and stopped talking to me and stuff.
Oh.
And so it wasn't until me and Stephanie kind of squashed it out. It was like it didn't even have anything to do with us. It's the mind games and shit.
So
but
those
with that
are insecure
situation,
bitches,
yes,
and Stephanie was an innocent bystander.
yeah, another one,
which
like Michelle.
sucks.
And so then when we started talking, it was like, and we'll message each other here and there and stuff. She just celebrated her anniversary with her husband, so congratulations to them. But it was nice talking again and getting. That's where we went.
Because the way we were at the reunion, when I remember, we were laughing.
We had a good
and
time.
it was like old times all
We had
over
a good
again. So
time.
I would have never even thought you guys
wouldn't
had
even
fallen
know.
off.
Yeah.
Like I remember the fall off, but I wouldn't have.
Yeah, yeah, and then it was. Remember, we had a 5-minute fallout in high school.
Me and you.
Yeah, because
that was middle school because of that one time. It was it was the 8th grade, and my mom pulled up to the car, and your mom.
To my
she
mom,
was
and then my mom's like, "What did you do?" And I was like, "I didn't do nothing."
The way this individual was like, I don't know what they're talking about,
Yes.
because our mom's like, fuck no, and yes.
And my mom was
It
like,
was
"Oh, we're
5
not
minutes.
having this."
Because I remember we had a math class together with Ezra Jeremiah Drogan. Remember Mr. Drogan, and they make fun of him because he always had duct tape on his shoes? I'll never forget it.
Mr. Drogan.
Anyway,
I remember him.
he was very young, and
Oh yeah,
Cameron Lacey was like, what's wrong with your shoes? It was what are those before what are those was a thing.
Oh
anyway,
shit. But it was.
I asked you for a pencil. You're like, no, you should come to prepared to class. I was like, yes, bitch.
She said, yeah. That's how I was like, oh, yeah.
And then
it was that moment where your mom confronted us in
she
the
was
parking
like,
lot.
excuse me, and
then she
your
kind
mom-
of stayed there, and my
she
mom
just-
was like, "What did you do?" And I was like, "I didn't do nothing."
they handled it, and thanks, moms.
Yeah, thank you. But
Because
it
real
was
friendship, you know.
But then this happened. Did you see her on the side? So we're all cool. I'm like, bitch, we're cool. I don't know where you're coming from.
Mariah Carey, I don't know.
I don't know you. But
And a lot of people didn't like this person. I'm just putting it out there.
Yeah,
She
and
got
still
problems
don't.
with a lot of
And
people.
still don't. And I kind of,
Oh well.
grudge holders still forgive but never forget.
Oh, I don't have grudges, but who?
Yeah, So it was like that, with the ghosting and stuff. It was so this shit ghosting has been happening since
The
forever.
Stone Ages. It used to be
But
on
we just
tablets and you
never
chisel it.
paid attention.
Yeah.
Attention to it.
Mhm.
So it's crazy on how I only heard ghosting in relationships, but then I started seeing it with friends. I was just like, well, what did I do? I didn't do shit.
But here's a perspective that I don't think a lot of people take into consideration. Sometimes you're going through it so hard and you just don't have the capacity to even open up and talk to people.
Yes.
And then they feel away because their centered thought is themselves first. Instead of being like, hey, you gained hella weight. You lost your job. The pandemic made your business shut down for 8 months.
What is it with us? Is we cannot we'll not talk maybe for like a year.
Yeah.
And then we
but
see
it
each
picks
other
up right where it left
right
off.
where we stepped off,
That's
how
real
we're
friends.
having here and stuff. And then it just, now that we're starting this podcast, I'm excited because we get to see each other more
It's like
often.
when we graduated high school and would be walking around the neighborhood
Yes.
together all the time.
Swimming and stuff. And that's how it was. But then too, I got into a depression in high school. Remember, we used to play outside. I stopped playing outside. I was always
And she
inside.
stuck me with these little kids.
With the little kids and stuff. But it was shit that we go through. But then even sometimes we disappear and sometimes you pop in my head. I'm like, oh, fuck, you know what? I saw something hilarious that we always talk
have the
quoting
same humor.
movies and joke, inside humor. And I was like, oh, shit, you know what? Let me talk to Noelle. Or I got to get a facial or whatever.
And
Let me
it
talk to
always
Noelle.
picks up right where it left
Right
off.
where it
No,
left off.
like, hey, so
Like,
what's
oh, what
going
happened
on?
to this girl? Like,
Right.
what the fuck she wants?
It's never awkward. It
never.
immediately dives into fun because
Yeah.
real friends.
Yes, and the same thing with Teresa. The same thing with her. We may not talk, but I'm like, hey, girl, hey. That's like our thing all the time. And then she always posts it. And that's where we start off. But is, like you said, if you're a true friend, and if you're going through something, because I remember when you were growing up with that horrible breakup with the one that starts with a C. You had looked anorexic. You had
Oh my God, yes, I had the
thin.
weight loss of 2006, guys. I lost like hella
so
weight.
much. And I remember I had seen you and I was
People
like,
thought I had
oh my
eating
God,
disorder.
like
That's
what happened
true.
to you? And so that's where it was just like, we
And
gotta
then
talk.
pizza was my breakfast again.
Yeah. First it was milk and then all of a sudden it was pizza,
Oh my
remember?
God, yes.
But it was like, as soon as you see certain things, but then at the same time, is that when you keep putting yourselves into certain situations, I can't keep coming over here and rescue you.
Mm-hmm. I only lost hella weight one time.
And but with this, the friend that I had the falling out is, I kept seeing that what they were doing, and I was just like, oh, and so maybe they ghosted me because they already know they don't want to hear the truth. Oh, okay, that's fine. And then you can also,
That's true.
right? It is, if you don't want to hear it and stuff, okay, that's absolutely fine.
And the truth hurts. So.
And then it does. It does and stuff. And certain things you don't like to hear, but at the same time you have to, and then you disappeared, and it's just like, okay, good riddance.
Mm-hmm.
And then sometimes that's where I don't need the closure. If you want to be like that, then okay. But when you owe somebody something, is no.
Unless you owe me money.
Yeah. You can't be like disappeared and be like, bitch.
That's when you go call up Judge Judy and take him to court.
For real.
So keep your receipts, guys.
Like, you ate the steak. That's her side. But it's always seeing that one. And then I think that's where the closure changes. If you want to be a douche about it and be like, oh God, good riddance, I don't need to talk to you. But then there's sometimes where it's going good and then all of a sudden you just disappeared. I'm like, well, did you die? Did you get hurt? Is there something I can do for you and stuff? That's where the being too nice for me would come.
I'm not nice.
And
But I do like to get the
we all
last
know
word.
that.
I used to say the truth hurts, and I'm honest.
Well, it's because I would get embarrassed because I would be like, oh my God, did I do something wrong? And then.
But I just feel like even if that's the case, well then kick rocks.
Mm-hmm.
Kick all of the rocks in open toe shoes in. Kick glass and flip flops, okay? Because I'm fabulous.
Yeah. But
if you don't like my peaches, don't go shaking my tree. I'm just saying, because it doesn't make any kind of sense to me to like be that disrespectful to a person.
Yeah.
It just
I
doesn't.
think that's what it is.
Like, then are you trash? Because clearly, if you can do that to a person, then that lets me know you probably do it to a lot of people, and you're probably not someone that I want to interact with in, if that's the case.
Yeah.
And I do think generationally, like this new generation, I call them Zoomers because they remind me of boomers. But Gen Z,
Yeah.
I think that they're so socially awkward that they don't know how to interact, and so it's easier to just disappear. Because the way somebody, not talking to her anymore, my little cousin, the way she handles things is completely disrespectful. She'll just leave you on red and keep it moving. And I'm like, bruh, I've bent over backwards for you all of your life.
Yeah.
And the least you can do is be like, okay, I got your text or whatever. But I know with her, she goes through a lot and she has anxiety issues and whatever. So in order to avoid panic attacks, she avoids situations. And I feel like a lot of these kids, like, have you ever been to a restaurant and you see a bunch of like Gen Z kids sitting there? They don't talk. They're on their phones, texting each other, scrolling and whatever. They haven't looked at the menu, and then the waiter comes over and they're like, okay, I'll give you 20 more minutes.
Yeah.
Or whatever. But they're not having human interaction. And then they, like, I've heard younger kids, well, they're adults now, but I've heard these people say, it's so hard for me to like talk on the phone, to leave a voicemail, to do things that were normal for us.
Yeah.
And so I think there is a disconnect of teaching the younger generations how to effectively communicate. So then that way you can get closure, or if you even just end it like on a positive note.
That's all it is. It's just like with this one too, with this case, the article is just saying, homie, you could have said that from the beginning. You didn't have to go through
and lie to me and say, I'm gonna take you out.
You know, what's that commercial with the dollar on the?
Well, you gotta be quicker than that.
So you're kind of like, you don't want to go through that far, but at the same time, it's just have some common decency. Be an adult.
Yeah.
Be an adult.
You know, them little kids, they don't even know how to dress an envelope anymore.
No.
So they don't know cursive.
Yeah.
So they can't be adults.
Exactly. But you don't know cursive. Don't be over here educating me. But that's all it is. It's just that common courtesy and just saying, you know what, it was fun, but you know, it's just not what I'm looking for.
Right.
Or whatever.
And I don't want to waste your time.
Exactly. That's all you have to say is okay. Instead of you're like, oh, I didn't know, and that's all you gotta.
And then I'm gonna ghost you if you're like, but I liked you so much. I can't help it. I don't like you back.
No.
Oh well. And I'm not gonna hurt your feelings and be mean and be like crazy hell.
Yeah.
You know? So I said what I needed to say. It's done. Lose my number.
Yeah, and like even with ex-boyfriends, you know, showing up at 3 o'clock in the morning at my house, outside my parents' house, not even my house.
Forever do that.
And they're like, oh, what are you doing at home? Like, I'm at my
died.
parents'. And it's like, but I still would answer them. And so finally, one day I think they called me or texted me, and I was like, who is this? And then, oh, never mind. And then I was like, oh, is this so-and-so? And he's like, yeah. Oh, okay. And then never talked to them.
So my
again.
favorite thing to do, because there's this one guy that I have, like, he's known as Crazy Pants because he was crazy, right? And oh, he's crazy. He's crazy. And so, like, but he will randomly, this is how you know he's crazy. He will get Google numbers or like fake numbers, call me, leave me voicemails or texts, and then block me so I can't respond to them. He's also done it on social media, and I'm like, but I'm not checking for you anyway.
No.
But he's crazy, and like he's just crazy. And so then one day I got annoyed because like I'm tired of waking up to voicemails. And all this like in the background or whatever, and I'm like, I know who it is, but it's not his actual number that I blocked, you know. And so one day I was with my sister and my cousin. They were like, just don't respond. And I was like, but I really hope he's in jail. I want him to be in jail. I want him to know that I hate him that much. That I want
like,
him to be in jail. Like, I hope you die. And they were like, don't respond. And I was like, ugh. And it ate me alive because I didn't respond. And I really wanted to. So I ghosted him. But I just wanted him to know that.
And that's a good ghosting. That's a ghosting that
like
we crazy. You want to fucking to keep
I wanted him
crazy.
to eat like boo-boo.
And you know, with this ex too, that was the hardest one to let go. And so finally, when I did, it was like, all right, like, oh, it's like you. Oh, let me drop everything and run to you. It's like, dog, no.
Nobody cares.
No, it's just I don't know. Where these guys and some girls, because some bitches are crazy too, and stuff that will drop everything. But if we haven't talked, and that was the same thing when I think when we started dating and we posted, remember you can put a relationship on Facebook. Good Lord, everybody just came out of nowhere. And so I was like, I haven't talked to you in how long? And you want to...
Why do they do that?
I don't know.
They're like, I always liked you.
Yeah.
Did you
and
know?
you have a boyfriend now, and this and that, and blah, blah,
Well, I had
and
one for
just
97 years.
You never said anything, too. And some of them never said anything.
Are
Like,
we gonna crush? Was I?
Are we gonna date? Are we not gonna date? Or are we just... We're not? Okay, yeah. So then I just moved on, stopped talking to you. And then now I have a boyfriend. Now you want to come over here.
You were the one. Was I?
Yeah. And then that one...
You know what I do with that? I'm like, how's your wife?
Why you gotta be like that? Why you gotta be like that? Well, and the other thing was... It was just like the lies and stuff. I'm like, you really gonna go... Like, the stupid one with the grill.
Oh,
Lord. God.
It was...
That was hilarious. But even when I dated him...
That was during the hyphy movement, guys. It is dead and sinking, so don't judge it.
That's why I apologize because I say dog. I say cuz. I say because that's...
We're cool.
And, oh my God. And everything was going great.
He's a fucking weirdo.
Yeah.
Anyway.
I know. And then... His excuse was like he stopped talking to me, and then finally again closure. Like, what the hell happened? We were doing this, doing that, and all of a sudden you just stopped talking.
Last time I saw that kid, he was like, "Do you remember me?" Unfortunately.
And then it was just like met his kid and stuff. Everything was fine. I didn't really talk to them. And then I was supposed to go to a birthday. It was a birthday party. I can't remember what it was. And then he ends up telling the other person, you know who it is.
Yep.
Like the reason that his son didn't like me.
Okay. The
But
way
then
he is tucking out the side of his neck right now.
Because then she showed me pictures and he's partying up with his other baby mama. So it was just, again, it was embarrassment. It was disappointment because I actually really liked this person. Drunk and stupid that day too. But I was just like, whatever.
He's so methy.
And once I saw it, I was like, oh my God, I did you. I liked you.
Yeah, that happens to me a lot. Like,
yeah, why?
Why?
Yeah. And stuff. So it was just like, that was a good ghosting. Do it again. And two, it's like when you see them, you just kind of like, but at that moment, I was embarrassed. I was just like, well, what did I do? But just like, well,
it was him, not you.
Whatever and stuff. But again, they just make it seem like it's about you and stuff. Instead of it's their own problem. It's their own shit. And instead of just owning up and stop being a little bitch, it's just own up to yourself and just say, you know what, I'm not ready for a relationship. I'm getting back with my daughter's mom, or I'm doing this and stuff. It's like, whatever the case is, I don't care, but just
those are the when in doubt, whip it out guys. And so, you know, like whatever. They chase any squirrel that comes off the tree.
And then they scare them off with their ugly ass.
100%. I will run into oncoming traffic.
I know.
Before I give you the time.
Oh shit! Yeah. And on that note, cause
mind your business.
Yes. Okay. Because that was ghosting. Gosh,
but it's over with.
So guys, again, if you liked our go ahead, subscribe, like it, and tune in for the next episode. Thank you.
Toodles.